This is the most fucking it's like a tautology of stupidity. Like, this is crazy. I read this thing almost like in disbelief. Kids' low reading scores are a 5-alarm fire, says DOGE's Ramaswamy. His solution? Eliminate the education department. One of the business leaders tapped by President-elect Donald Trump to suggest cuts for government spending said axing the education department would help boost kids' reading scores in the U.S. Education policy experts say it's not that simple. They don't say it's not that simple. They say, what the fuck are you talking about? How would that work? Huh?
Yeah.
Also, Ramaswamy is pointing to data that shows that reading scores for 8th graders are not good. They've never actually been particularly good. They hover around 30%, between 29 and 36%.
What does that mean? I saw that number. What does 30% even mean? That doesn't mean like 30%, only 30% can read.
That they're reading proficiently at grade level.
I see. Okay.
So that's not great, right? That's not great. You'd want to see that number closer to 50, 60% probably to be in that sort of mean. That's sort of but the only reason we have that number is because of the Department of Education.
You can't know it any other way.
He is suggesting eliminating the department in charge of knowing stuff and that will fix the thing. How are you going to fix things you don't know? That is a Rumsfeldian problem.
It really is. It really is. I think, this is one of those moments that you get a chance to see once in a while. They'll let a libertarian loose in Washington. They just let him out of the cage. They roll up the cage like Gladiator. He comes up from the floor and then they just let him loose for a little while on the books. And then they get a bunch of sergeant at arms.
Liberated?
Yeah. They get a bunch of sergeant at arms to put him back in the box with spears later. But they let a libertarian loose once in a while and they go after the books. And you're like, dude, here's the thing, man. You're going to cut the shit out of this department and then you're going to blame it. You're going to say, see, it sucks. And you're like, dude, you fucking just cut the shit out of this department. And you're going to say, see, it sucks. We've been cutting this department and cutting things from these social safety nets and all these ways in which, this isn't a fluff department. This is a necessary department so that the people in the United States can hopefully learn better, right? That's what the department exists for. But instead we're saying, what we're going to do is we're going to wind up cutting from that department constantly over year after year after year. And then when it fails, we're going to say, see how much it sucks? Do you see how bad it is? Do you see this? And nobody's going to remember the deaths from 1,000 cuts that came beforehand. And then they're going to say, you're right. It sucks. We should just delete it. I should just have fucking Rick Perry write it on his hand and then forget about it later on during a presidential debate.
Hey, he's smarter now. He got glasses.
He does have glasses.
That's how you know that he is now a serious
Ibogaine or whatever
gentleman.
It is too. Yeah, he's an Ibogaine guy. Yeah.
The Department of Education is a really important department. It's a really fucking essential department. Without the Department of Education, we would be relying entirely on local sources to fund all of our schooling, to fund all of our education, to fund all of our systems.
Yeah.
And be not mistaken, that's exactly what the right wants.
Yeah.
They want that because they want to hand over control of schools, which are very lucrative, to religious institutions. That's what they want. They want to move to charter schools and religious private schools. They want to move that money over there. They've been wanting a voucher system for fucking ever. They want to nationalize a voucher system. And since they can't do it at a national level, if they destroy the Department of Education, the funding will fall to the locals. The locals will move it into local control financially, and we'll have way. Now we have a much happier or easier Supreme Court too, that's already come out and said that we can use public funds for private education, even if it's religious. This is a way to gift that money into corporate schools.
Yep.
Right?
It's always been the plan, man. Yeah, it's always been the plan.
You're going to go to fucking Pepsi High School. You just are. It's just you just are because it's already close to that. This is kind of the barrier that stands in the way.
Yeah.
So you get rid of that, and then all the rest of those dominoes begin to fall, and they fall very quickly. And, the people that suffer are always the same people.
Yep.
It's special ed kids, right? A huge amount of government funding is necessary for special education. Those are higher needs services. Those services are available in your local public school, but they are not available in most private schools, special education services, because there's no money in it. It's intensive work, requires a lot more money, if I were building a school for profit, I wouldn't have special education services in that school. Those kids aren't profitable clients. I don't want to bring them in. It's a real problem. Like, if we get rid of the Department of Education, like, we're really going to fuck over a lot of people. And I don't know how many of those dumbass dipshit MAGA supporters that like have a kid with a fucking IEP or a 504 plan really understand the impact that will have on their family.
Yeah. How bad it's going to be for them. Yeah, this is a major own bed stuff for some people, but it's also you're just attacking the people on the margins because that's what the Republicans are good at.
Yep. Yeah, and funneling money up. This is going to be, I think we're going to see the greatest upward wealth distribution.
I don't think you're wrong.
In American history over the next 4 years.
I don't think you're wrong.